Welcome to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. In this podcast, we discuss mystical works of literature and how they relate to recovery. We hope you enjoy today's podcast episode.
Hello, this is Buddy C. Welcome to the Tao of Understanding Recovery Podcast. Today we have Drew and Lou. Good to have you guys. If you're new to this podcast, we talk about how really spirituality in general relates to our recovery. You know, a lot of us come into recovery thinking, there's a spiritual part to life. But what we eventually realize, or at least what I've realized, is there is no spiritual part. It's all spiritual. Everything that we physically do has spiritual ramifications. Everything we don't do has spiritual ramifications. And I think that's what the waking up process that's talked about in step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, is pointing us toward. That's the moon. The moon is, we talk about the finger pointing at the moon. Well, the moon, I believe, is looking at life as a spiritual walk, not just a spiritual experience, and that all of life is happening in this ever-present moment. Granted, we can plan for the future, but we can plan for the future in this moment. We don't have to get lost in the future to plan for it. Before we start with our story today, it's from Thomas Merton's interpretation of the Chuang Tzu, page 107, The Need to Win. We're going to talk about a resource and a synchronistic moment. The resource I have for you today, these you can find at buddyc.org, but this particular one you can find on Facebook. It's the Tao of Our Understanding, same name as the podcast, same logo, is a private Facebook group. The people in the group can see that you're a member, but the people outside of the group cannot. So there's some anonymity there. And if you want more anonymity, you can do what I did. I started a Buddy C Facebook page, and we would allow you to join as a page if you'd like. That way you can maintain your anonymity even further. That's a neat little trick with Facebook that you can do. Okay. Secondly, we talk about, I do want to mention in the Facebook group, we post the video from these meetings. We also post different encouragements and memes and different things like you see on Facebook that applies to our walk in recovery, our walk spiritually, and create some fellowship. We can also discuss things in the podcast. If someone has questions or they want to dig a little deeper, we can do that in the Facebook group. So it's a good community. It's a small community. I think there's 300 or so. So if that's something you're interested in, please join. We also post the link for this meeting there as well. And we record this meeting every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and you're all welcome to attend. Okay, I think Lou's got a synchronistic. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Drew has a synchronistic moment for us this morning. And what we do, and we find with studying the Tao, that the Tao is all about letting go. What I see in the Tao is letting go and noticing what is going on around us, and that life is happening. This flow of life is moving all the time. We're just not aware of it at times. And sometimes we can see this flow. And I think we see that in synchronistic moments. So we try to share one every week. And Drew has ours for today. Drew?
Yeah, this actually just happened last night. 20 something years ago when Gmail came out, I was lucky enough to get as an email address my last name at gmail.com. And my last name's not terribly common, but it's not uncommon. And there are lots of people with my last name I don't know. You know, it's a little common. But what that means is that for the last 20 years, I've been getting emails meant for other people with my last name, because somebody just puts in, my last name at gmail.com and sends the email, and I get it. So I've gotten emails for, lots and lots of people with my last name over the years. I got one last night, looked at it, and it was sent by an organizer of a religious Christian conference that's coming up. It's a scholarly conference. It's all about like apologetics and epistemology of theology, and just really like deep scholarly stuff. I looked at the event. It actually looks really interesting. People who are speaking have doctorates of divinity from Oxford, and just people from all over the world who write really interesting stuff are going to be there. He sent the email to 6 people. I was one of the 6, and the other 5 are all really high up in like the global Episcopalian Church. And he said, "Hey, we'd love to have y'all there. Go to this website, put your name in, and there'll be a badge waiting for you." I was like, "Oh, that'd be fun. If I just like showed up and got a badge and I could attend. Where is this even happening?" So I looked, and it's happening at a little event center like a mile and a half from my house. So I'm actually thinking about going. Like, for some reason I got sent this email just with 5 other people. I mean, not for some reason. He meant to send it to somebody with my last name and just sent it to me. But I got it, and I got an invitation that I can use and go. There's going to be tacos and beer and barbecue. So I don't drink alcohol or eat meat, but that's just kind of a good show of like the type of event it's going to be. Is some real scholarly stuff, but also some fun stuff too. So I may go to it. It seems kind of like the universe just put it in my hands and said, "Hey, this is something you might want to go to." So I'll let y'all know how it goes.
Yeah, let us know, Drew. But I tell you what's more interesting than that. You're a vegetarian in Texas? That would be like hell, I think, for me. Man, such good barbecue and good meat to eat everywhere. And anyway, that's what I could. Once you said that, I didn't hear anything else you said.
Well, one thing I found is that good barbecue places have really good sides, and I can make a full meal out of potato salad and fried okra and coleslaw and beans, and I eat well at barbecue joints.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that very well. But I'm a rib man myself. So had ribs yesterday, actually. Yeah, Drew, let us know what happens with that. That we did, when we're open to what's going on around us and don't have our minds just firmly entrenched, putting into practice that Course in Miracles saying that I heard from Karen Casey. Is there another way that I can look at this? Can I see this differently? If I keep asking that question, when I push up against something, when I say no in my mind, or I feel that resistance, which I'm noticing I resist a lot more than I thought I did. Can I say, whoa, can I see this differently? And you see where that takes you. Good. Let us know what happens with that, Drew. Thank you. Okay, time for our story. Lou, would you read our story for us today, sir?
Yeah, let me just pull it up here. We're on the need to win.
The need to win.
When an archer is shooting for nothing, he has all his skill. If he shoots for a brass buckle, he's already nervous. If he shoots for a prize of gold, he goes blind or sees two targets. He's out of his mind. The skill has not changed, but the prize divides him. He cares. He thinks nothing more of winning. He thinks more of winning than of shooting, and the need to win drains him of power.
Thank you. Short story compared to what we've been having, but a lot here. For me, I can relate this to shooting pool. I used to shoot in tournaments when I was a little younger and shoot for money as well, some. And the more money that was on the game, the worst I shot, especially if I was broke. And this story explains why.
Yeah, I can think of so many different competitive things I've done throughout my life where, I did really well practicing. And then when it came time to actually, keep score for real or, do it in front of more people, the worse I got.
I'm turning to page 84 in the big book. It's a story that I like to use quite often. In step 10, I think this is how we can personally apply this to our life. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. First thing we do, we discuss them with someone immediately. We make amends quickly. Number 3, quickly if we've harmed anyone. And 4, we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code, and we have ceased fighting anything and anyone, even alcohol. Anyone that's reading this will notice that the love and tolerance is our code. There's a period, and the beginning of another paragraph starts with the and. I hear and we have ceased fighting anything and anyone, even alcohol. I hear people quote love and tolerance of others is our code and just stopping there, but that's not the complete quote. In modern grammar, I don't think that we would have framed did this sentence structure as they did in the 1930s. I don't think we would have started the next paragraph with an and, nor would we have broken that quote into 2 sentences because they go together. We can't stop fighting anything and anyone. Okay, first we stop fighting, then we're able to be tolerant of others and eventually loving others. First is tolerance. Tolerance is you'd say is a form of love, but tolerance for me is almost, well, I'm tolerating it. I'm allowing something that I may not approve of, but I'm not fighting it. Well, love is more than that. So the way this would apply to this story, it says that the prize divides him. He cares. He cares. When we're entertaining fear in our life, we're picking up care. That's a form of care. And when we do that, it divides us. We can't see clearly what to do. And all of this is the culmination of the 3rd step, where we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. Now, how do we do that? We made a decision in the 3rd step, but how do we turn the care, how do we let go of these things that we care about that we can't carry? And for me, it starts with surrendering my fear in different areas of life. I'll give you a real life example. One of my fears is the fear of financial insecurity. My meditation can be great, doing well, and then I have some big financial decision to make, and that's all I can think about. And I realize when that happens, like, oh, I'm still carrying this more of the financial responsibility than I should, because I'm not able to sit and meditate without that coming to mind continually. So then I start doing a 4th step, called mini 4 steps, what my sponsor would call it, old sponsor. But really it's a 10th step. And just sit down and why can I not turn this financial decision, whatever it is, over like I turn over other things? Then I start surrendering to the fears that are involved. And I may use gratitude to do that. I have a financial gratitude list. I look at how I've been taken care of in the past. So why do I not think this will work out too? And through doing that, I start letting go of that care. And if I really look closely, I can see that all my disturbances come from carrying things that I'm not designed to carry. And for me, the whole program's about removing that load, letting that load of things go that I'm carrying that I'm not designed to carry. Look, he's not even in the present moment either. It says he thinks more of winning than of shooting. I can be in a situation, and if I'm thinking negatively or my fear's in charge, man, I am broken on the street and lost everything, family and all, in 10 seconds or less. Well, really 3 or 4 seconds. And none of that's happened.
The one thing I think of with that sentence is, kind of applying it to my life, focusing more on the destination than the actual journey itself.
Because if I'm focusing on the destination, I'm not in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Same with here, if he's thinking about winning more than shooting, he's not in the present moment. Maybe he's thinking about losing. What happens if I lose? All these people are going to think I'm not a good shot, blah, 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 blah. Either way, it's irrelevant which it is. If it's, woe is me, or I'm so great, or I'm nothing, doesn't matter. Both are taking you out of the moment, and both will affect the present moment.
I think a difference, you could be doing the same thing. You could be in a tournament, but the difference might be between participating and competing. If I'm participating in a golf tournament or something, then to me the word participation just means I'm there, I'm playing, I'm having fun. But if I'm competing in a golf tournament, then that means I'm focused on winning. And it's the same action. I'm at the golf tournament, I'm playing, but the mindset is just completely different.
When I'm in competitions, Drew, the last ones were a few years ago. I used to do these iron butt motorcycle rally competitions, and it's not a cannonball race. You're given a bunch of destinations with different points and different things you have to do and get the most points in the allotted amount of time. So it's mostly planning and then execution. I tried to compete against myself, compete against the goals that I put. Now, that wasn't entirely pure. There was a lot of ego involved. So I backed off of those. I doubt I start those up again, but it helped for me to do that. Also, if I came across someone that was broken down or needed something or something I could help on the way through, I had to stop and help. I didn't just keep going because it was costing me time. I remember I was running through, I had to stop at a historical marker and take a picture. This family was there and they wanted me to snap a picture for them. And it was all I could do to stand there and do it because I needed to make up time and they were costing me time. I mean, you even practice how long it's going to take you to stop and take a picture. And you try to get that under 90 seconds. I mean, that kind of a thing you do with this, or I did because I am very competitive. So I think the way that we care about things pops out in what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I know from past experience, if I'm participating in something rather than competing, I'm much more likely to help somebody else. I'm much more likely to be happy when they do something good. But if I'm competing, I don't want to help anybody. I don't want to give them extra boost, increase their odds of beating me. I don't want to be happy that they just made that good shot or got a good stroke of luck. That might increase my chance of winning, but I'm not having fun. I'm not putting my values into action while I'm participating.
I'll tell a quick story. I think we have time today. I was competing in a rally, and part of the rally is it's not only the execution, but doing all your paperwork correctly because you're fatigued. This was like a 36-hour, I forgot how many hours it was. Anyway, it was a like a 36-hour, I think. And I was going through and writing all my points and doing everything. And I got to the end to the judging. I knew I had done very well. And there were 70 people that were competing, including the top people in that field. I mean, people who had won the 10-day or 11-day iron butt competition, which is the big one. So I was competing with some big dogs. I'd won some smaller things, but nothing, there was nothing like this, nothing like they had won. So I was doing all my stuff, and I got to the end of the paperwork, and I misread one thing and notated one thing wrong. It cost me a huge amount of points. So it totally knocked me out. So we're going to this room for the giving of the awards because nobody knows who won or anything. So you've got all these round tables again with people just around the tables. I know no one there I really know at all. So I just find a seat and sit down. So they start going through the points, third place, second, whatever, how they counted it out. And I had counted up how many points I would have had if I would not have made that mistake. And they came down to the last one, and they said, "Oh, by the way, the one that for the winner of this rally, you're going to get a place in the Iron Butt rally that's coming up, and it's very difficult to get into if you're beginning. You have to have. I mean, a lot of people don't get in the Iron Butt the first time that they apply. So this is a free pass, not free, but a pass into the Iron Butt." So I was sitting there, and they started calling points. And they called the guy that won, and he had less points than I would have had if I wouldn't have made the one mistake. And on top of that, he was sitting right beside me. So I got to hear how everybody came up and congratulated him. And I'm like, That's when I realized how much of my ego was involved in these things. And maybe I shouldn't be competing in these. It was a very good lesson. That was a synchronistic moment that I didn't like.
Yeah, they're not always pleasant.
No, they're not, Lou, but they're what's best for us. I couldn't believe it. And the guys were there that had won those big 11-day events and all of these things, and I would have beat them all if I hadn't have made one clerical error, and I was like, So I just sat there and listened. Like, yeah. Very humbling for me, which hopefully I don't need as often as I did then. That was just a few years ago, but pre-pandemic. We just don't know what we need in those situations.
This I was thinking earlier, I'd seen a video here, kind of a meditation, kind of a story a while ago, and it was about being stuck in a traffic jam. And the things you go through if you're stuck in a traffic jam, you try to change lanes, or you got to look up there and see what it is, as though if you know what it is, it's somehow going to make everything go faster. You think about how you should have taken a different route. And it's all this sense that what's happening is because you didn't control something the right way. And I think, that's that desire to control things is part of the thing that pushes us out of the relaxedness that it takes to go with the flow, to shoot the arrow, not for control, but for kind of being in the moment, the mastery of the moment kind of thing. It doesn't, when you're talking about worried about having the fear of financial insecurity, imagining all those things doesn't make you more secure. Thinking of what you might have done differently or what you'll do differently in the future doesn't change anything, because it's not really, so much of it's not in our control. Stopping to take a picture wouldn't have won you, I don't even know if that race, but stopping to take a picture wouldn't have stopped you from winning the race if you messed up the paperwork.
Yeah.
Maybe in some way it might actually have helped. Who knows? It's not like we're mastering the universe with our control and our focus and our will. So that's part of it for me, is that it's like the opposite of Wu Wei, opposite of going with the flow, is fighting the river, trying to control the shot, trying to control. I'll cheer for the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, but me cheering for them or jumping up and down when they do well, or cussing at the refs isn't going to change what's going on there. But it might make me feel like I'm in control somehow.
Lou, I was thinking about, from your share, how much of our angst or mistakes, if you want to say, are come from us not being relaxed. It goes back to the letting go business, right? When we're holding on to these things, it's difficult, or really for me, it's impossible for me to do my best. And my best doesn't come from me trying harder. It comes from me being relaxed, or seems to be. I mean, I do my best still, but am I doing that in a letting go manner, or am I doing that in a, uptight, control, anger, all those things that come along with it?
I think when we're not in the moment, we're not as relaxed. You might be sitting in that traffic jam and look over in the car next to you, there's a little kid making funny faces at you, and you make some funny faces back, and that ends up being kind of a fun, memorable kind of thing. And when you think of the traffic jam, you think of goofing around and having fun with that little kid in the car next door, instead of how long you were stuck there, because you're in the moment. You're not thinking about you're going to be late. You're not thinking about how do I squeeze ahead of the next car. Just there in the moment of the time that you're in, instead of the imagined future of how you might make it better.
I guess that's why when you're in the middle of a shot of some kind, it helps to take a deep breath and center yourself, because the breath brings you back to the moment. And that's also on your path. If you're away from the moment and you're coming back, part of that path back, I think, is us having the intent of being helpful, or the way page 84 put it, turn our thoughts to someone we can help, because we can only help in this moment, or be helped in this moment. All of those things. And I think that's the same for all spirituality, is it's bringing us back to the present moment. In reality, as our friend Oscar says, we never left the present moment, but we don't realize that. We think we're somewhere else when we're still here.
Have you seen the book, The Zen and the Art of Archery by Eugene Hegel?
I have not.
It's all about this. It's all about him going to a master archer in Japan, based on true story, his story, and he learns from a master. And of course, it's for everything, does everything wrong, tries too hard, all that kind of stuff. But so much of the teaching of the mastery is not in the outcome, but in the process, in the breath, in the release, in the focus of the moment, rather than in the focus of the outcome, including having him shoot blindfolded and teaching other life's lessons not related to archery along the way. Short book, interesting book, and it's called The Zen and the Art of Archery.
His name again?
It is Eugene. I've got a copy of it. Let me see if Eugene, and that's spelled Eugene, Herrigel, Herrigel, Zen and the Art of Archery. It's an older book.
Okay. Thank you.
53, it says here.
I may look that up. Thank you, Luke.
But this very, very much in tune with reading for today.
And what the story is talking about too is he should be concerned with shooting, not winning. Like you said, he should just be concerned with what's going on in that present moment, regardless of the outcome of that moment. And the way the story describes it is that when we don't do that, it drains us of power. I can see that. That's a good way to describe it. I'm carrying these cares and I'm fighting the present moment because I want it to be different. And I let all those things in my daily practice, in my daily life. It drains my life of power. When I go to a meeting and I'm there just to get rather than give, it drains me of power because I've got to figure out blah, blah, blah. So I don't listen to others. When a lot of times I've found when I listen to someone else, I see the solution to whatever I think my problem is. If I don't raise my hand at the end of the meeting when they're asking who can be a sponsor, I'm draining myself of power. All those things where we choose self, choose fear, we're draining ourselves of power.
Hello, this is Buddy C. I wanted to make you aware of several recovery-related resources that I've posted in the episode description. These resources include a list of recovery podcasts, a free sober meditation app, daily recovery email, shared Google recovery calendars. Hope you put some of these resources to use and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends in recovery.